Alright, Logan, you're really lucky that this food needs to cool down anyway, and I felt like drawing a little bit more. So you said eyes, right? Luckily, eyes are easier to do than hands usually. And do a good right eye, but my left one's always goofy. Alright, well, the easy thing with eyes is if you're doing it digitally, you only need to draw one, realistically, alright? But it really depends on which kind of eye you're going for. If we're talking a realistic or a more realistic eye, like you said, you already know how to do this. You just draw the almond shape. Well, more or less an almond, more like a lemon, I guess. Just a flattened down lemon. And then, of course, you draw the eyeball portion. I wish I could give you the scientific names for all this, but I cannot. I'm not gonna lie, I did draw a fire eyeball at work today too on a receipt paper, but I didn't save it. I didn't keep it, so I mean, realistically, I don't really think I need to go into full detail on this because you already said you know how to draw the one. Now I got the same issue with my eyes when I try to draw them. This one looks really bad. Hold up. No, the final details. If it's a female, you're gonna start drawing lashes like here. Usually, obviously, they're gonna come out and up. I don't know if you know how to do the lashes, then don't even pay attention to this part. But when you're doing lashes, the good trick is to make it come out and then up to try to give it a little bit of depth. You feel me? See, look at that. So if you're just doing straight out, it kind of looks like, but if you're like curving it up and out, it makes it pop way more. So now, obviously, the main thing people know about eyes is that when you're putting them on a face, usually, if I were to just here, let me see, copy and paste this. Eyes, when you're mirroring them, are usually always about one eye length away from each other. So you see where that one ends off? It goes out to about right here and stops and starts about right there. That's about the distance you want between each of your eyes when you're drawing them on a face. So if we get this, if you're not able to just kind of copy and paste them, then I could try to draw some for you normally. But if the app that you use does let you do it, then that's even better. But here, let me see. Roughly. So if you want to try to eyeball that or try to imagine what it might look like, put your fingers on the screen if you got to, whatever, which is what I just did. We'll start out about there. And obviously, in real life, not everything's going to be perfectly symmetrical, so just think about that in case it looks bad. Alright. Whichever eye you're worse at drawing, I feel like would probably be the one to draw first. Because if it looks bad, then you're like, okay, that's fine. You can replicate it easier since this one's easier for you to draw. You know what I mean? And obviously, if you're drawing like this little shine here, it's going to be on the same side per ball. It's not going to be perfectly flip-flopped. You know what I mean? Unless you got different light sources or whatever the case is for that, then. Also have lashes on the bottom, which would probably start around there, I think. Somewhere around that line. And then obviously you have this little up bit for the eyelid. So I know this wasn't part of the tutorial you were asking, but for noses, just want to look deep into my eyes here. I think that's about right. For noses, like the bridge of the nose starts right about where that eyeball is, if not a little bit. You see what I mean? If you can even see it good, it starts right there. So when it comes to noses and doing them at a front view, we're gonna assume that this face is really big. It would probably start around right here, I think, and then go down. And it always curves down like that. Holy shit, let me put these back on, hold up. Alright, that looks really bad, but trust me, if you really put some time into it and shade it and everything, it would look a bit better. Oh my god. Whoa. Alright, maybe I shouldn't have gave you this part of the tutorial. Yeah, I would say for a free draw on both of them, this isn't bad. The trick is just really replicating it to the best of your ability. But, you know what I mean? But reversed, you know what I mean? There's really no tips for it. You said that you could already draw this kind of eye really good, which is perfect. So there's not really much more I could do for you there. I'm assuming you meant realistic ones too and not like some anime type eyes because that shit's really easy. Anyway, if we're talking. If we're talking more on the realistic spectrum, that's about as good as it needs. Obviously, you have your tear duct right here where the tears would come from. You have a big hump at the top, have a little cliff bit here. It drops down a bit, but not too far. And then what I always do is I kind of just have this line curve up and leave it like that. Or I finish it all the way up. I don't actually connect the two at a perfect angle, because if you look, most eyes don't really look like that. I guess it kind of depends on what angle you're looking at them at, but for the most part, they don't really look like that. Yeah, I think that's really about it. I'm not too sure what else. Don't forget to always add like some kind of eyelid line here. You know what I mean? Because how the eyelids fold up, like if your eyes are open, it folds. Just add that little line. That always makes it look better. Maybe even do a little parted one at the bottom. I don't know, but that was digital, obviously. So but the trick I learned just in general with eyes is to do like a little wavy thing here. By the way, if you want to make eyes look a little bit more realistic or make them pop out more, you're going to be doing this a lot. A lot of lines and everything coming out. And even if you want, you could do this and just tap it very slightly with any kind of like textured smoothing out brush, I guess, or blender, just to give it kind of like that staticky sort of detail. Go back through and create lines coming up, down, and from the middle. Again, it doesn't look great here, but that's about the best advice I could really give you on eyes. I think, again, dude, I'm not that good at drawing, so I don't know why you want tutorials from me out of all people. But, more or less, yeah, it's just a lot of this. Oh, one final thing, hold up. Remember, when it comes to shading, make sure you're shading this bit. You know what I mean? So if you wanted to get into shading everything, make sure you're going directly under where this line is, because obviously it's an orb inside of something. It's inside of a socket, so there's going to be a little overhang when it comes to shadows. So do that all around here just to give it more of a 3D looking aspect, you feel me? And just play around with the shading aspect. But just make sure that there is like shading underneath this main line that the eyeball is in, because again, it's something inside of something else. So there's definitely going to be some shadows coming out from above it. Same, even with this part of the eyeball, because obviously this is all, my bad. This, even all this white is one eyeball. It's one thing. This is just a pupil, but still, what I think looks good usually is adding more like detail even on this part of it. Although this part of the eye, this circular part, is more or less just a flat outline on top of the white that's in your eyes, it still makes it look pretty good, and it still gives that like 3D-ish effect most of the time. Don't really know what other tips I could give for you. Unless you want to do a quick summary. With eyeballs, make sure it's that almond shape. I don't always connect these two tips here at the end. It just, I mean, if it's front facing, it might look like that, but from all the pictures I've seen, which was a lot, those really rarely ever connect. I usually kind of just follow this. Here, let me make sure it's a big, not that big. I just follow this kind of curve right here. You know what I mean? With eyelashes, always make sure they come up and then out. Up and out so it looks like it's overhanging the eyeball itself, because that's usually how eyelashes work. They don't just come straight off the lid. They kind of come up and out like that. And when you're doing it, make sure you're also kind of like making them a little jagged, making them all in different directions. Make sure it's following the curve. So if it's looking dead on where the camera is at, you would make it kind of go down and then up, just like a straight line down and up, and then slowly have them curve back out like that. And obviously they get smaller the further they are from the inside of the eye, and get bigger the further they go out, blah blah blah. And you would do the same thing on the bottom, except the bottom is, they're all small. The eyelashes are rarely ever that big unless they're fake eyelashes. So there's that. Always draw this little eyelid rise kind of line up here above it, because I think that's actually where the I'm gonna start playing with my eyeball. So if you're squeamish with eyeball stuff, like right where that is, you feel me? That's kind of where that line is. It's where the eyeball like just starts popping into the socket. So there's a little definition line there. Eyebrows, how I do them is I look at the blank face, I guess, come up, do this, get a general feel for what I'm liking, and then I kind of just do a feathered pattern, you know what I mean? Do the same on the bottom, which I don't think that's how eyebrows really look, but hey, it works. You can tell what it is. It looks decent, looks detailed. So I just kind of keep it like that, and of course it kind of tapers off at the end. But all throughout, for the most part, eyebrows are pretty bushy, and they just kind of pop up all the way like that towards the end of it. But yeah, all in all, that's really about it. With eyes, you could always work around and mess with like little patterns and shit going on in here, because no eye is the same usually. You got this, you could always make it look wetter in here since this is the tear duct. You know, you want to make it look moist if you're doing like photorealistic. Make this whole inside area, because it is kind of like separate. It's like a little cut off. Make that look more moist. The bridge of the nose usually ends right above where that duct. This is, hold up, this whole drawing is a bit slanted. Let me do it more like that. The inside, or where the nose begins, kind of is like right above where that duct is almost, and it follows through. It'd be easier to see if you're drawing from a side angle, because if you're drawing a nose kind of like this sort of, most of the times you'll see that it overlaps, and then you start seeing the eye pop out from that, and then the other eye come out. You know what I mean? So obviously the bridge of the nose starts about right here. You would get the eyeball. This video has probably been really long. I might go in and trim it up a bit. I don't know. But that's most of my tips for you. Let me know if you have any other ones, I guess. And I don't know, I'll see what I can do. Alright, bye Logan. Oh, wait a minute. No outro. No outro. Hold